Hey folks, today we're going to work on our Bluegrass Triplet licks. There's a lot of different ways that flat pickers create these fast triplet passages, and we're going to get into all of that today, I guess. So let's do the one you probably don't want to hear first. I'm going to spare you the dreaded work on your right hand talk. It's just, I'm not going to do it today. However, if you're doing triplets up the neck, I do recommend that you pick all the notes. And the reason is that the decay from a hammer-on or from a pull-off, it's too much. That last note is too quiet, and if you have a banjo player next to you and a fiddle player next to you, no one's going to be able to hear what you're doing. So you want to try to pick all those notes, and there's some advice for that though. You want to use that very strict alternate picking. You want to do 3 notes per string. You want to do lots of chromatic passing tones. They're really going to help the fingering work out nicely. And if you can work them into pentatonic boxes because we're all really familiar with those. So here's 4 descending runs that are created by combining major and minor pentatonic scales or adding chromatic passing tones to the major pentatonic. The only way to get these up to speed is to just run them over and over again. So I'm going to let you get to that. Alright, here's a personal favorite of mine. I like to use this kind of triplet lick when I'm tagging a song or finishing a break, and in a bouncier tune like Foggy Mountain Special, I'll even use it as a repeater, just looping it over and over and over again. First, let's make a triplet descending 4 strings. Every time it's going to be a downward pick stroke and a pull off from 3rd fret to 2nd fret to open. Now I'm going to use my middle and my index fingers. At the very end, let's tack on 3rd fret on the low E string as well, just so we get that resolve note. If you're wondering why this pattern works, like what notes I'm picking, you can think of the first 2 strings as the major and minor pentatonic combined, and you can think of the second 2 strings as just part of the major scale. If you want to do the rock and roll repeater thing, I just pick 2 strings based on what the chord is, and I just repeat those over and over again. Also, I'm sorry if you're British, I didn't mean to do that. Here we go. There we go. So now that we did a descending lick with pull-offs, let's do an ascending lick with hammer-ons. So if we're going to do the exact same thing, I'm going to do a downward pick stroke for every single string, but the rest is going to be reversed. I'm going to start with an open string and then do 2 fretted notes. Also, let's use all 6 strings. How about? Cool, so this line seems a little bit like nonsense, but I promise you that it's not. It is usable, and you're just kind of saying it without context, so it seems weird. We're going to do open, 2, then 3 on our low E string. Then we're going to do open 1, 2 on the A string, open 1, 2 on the D string, and then open 2, 3 on the D string as well. Then open 2, 3 on the G string, open 3, 4 on the B string, and open 3, 4 on the high E string. And then we're going to tack on 5, 3 on that high E string again. I know, that's a lot. I just said a lot of numbers. I'm going to show it on the screen, don't worry. By the way, I remember learning this lick from a tab by some famous flat picker. I don't remember who it was or what book it was in or anything. So if you do know that, if you look at this and you're like, hey, that's from so-and-so, please leave it in the comments so I don't feel like a thief. So I've seen a couple people on YouTube refer to these as Brian Sutton triplets, and I don't think he invented them, but I guess that's what we're calling them now. They're formed by a downstroke hammer-on from 1st fret to 2nd fret, and then followed by an upstroke on the next open string. Then you start one string higher, and you can sort of dovetail them into each other, like stack them over and over again. So an example would be like hammering on like 1st to 2nd fret on your low E string, and then an upstroke on your open A string. Then hammering on 1st to 2nd fret on your A string, and then an upstroke on your D string. You can do that all the way up all the strings, so it would sound like this. So this works really well in the beginning of Billy and the Low Ground. And maybe that's where people got it. I think Brian Sutton does that in a recording of Billy and the Low Ground. Here it is again. I think this next one might actually be a Tony Rice invention, although I don't ever see these called Tony Rice triplets. Maybe he got them from Clarence or something. I don't know. Someone out there knows, and they'll correct me. This is kind of opposite to the Sutton triplet. So Tony likes to do these over C chords and G chords, and the lick starts with a downstroke pull-off from 1st fret to open, followed by an upstroke on 3rd fret of the string below it. If Tony does it over a C chord, he uses his A and D strings, and when he does it over the G chord, he uses his E and A strings, right? Like, it's part of the chord shape. This is what it looks like. You can also do a Rice triplet into a Sutton triplet, which sometimes you hear Tony do. It sounds like this. Here's one that I like to do. I'm not sure. I've seen other people do it a lot. So, I mean, I could call it the Marcel triplet, but I'm not going to. If you want to call it that, go ahead. This lick is 2 triplets long, so it's basically a normal pull-off triplet followed by a Rice triplet, but the Rice triplet starts with the isolated note, not with the pull-off. For instance, you could do a downstroke pull-off from 3rd to 1st fret to open, and then a downstroke on 3rd fret of the string below, and then an upstroke pull-off from 1st to open on the original string. Then I would repeat it a string lower, and so on. You might do it like this. So it looked like this. Sounds really crazy over a tune like Beaumont Rag. Crazy. So let's give that a shot. You know where you have a pause? Not perfect, but you get the idea. If you like this video, please comment, please subscribe. You can check out the website, lessonswithmarcel.com. Tons of free lessons on there. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. So I'll see you next time.